Today, in a press conference, Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown, along with two state legislators, admitted on camera what we have been anticipating and expecting for months now. They are committed to and planning to make Washington the most aggressive sanctuary state in the country. They dropped their proposed legislation for protecting immigrant workers in 2026. In this video, I'm going to break down the press conference and the proposed legislation and give you everything you need to know about what's coming for the Immigrant Workers Protection Act in 2026. Hey everyone, I'm Julie Barrett and I'm the founder of Conservative Ladies of America, which of course started in Washington State. And so today's bill of the day is for our friends in Washington State. The pre-filing for the 2026 legislative session started on Monday of this week, December 1st. Today that I'm recording this is Friday, December 5th. And earlier today, Attorney General Nick Brown, along with State Representative Lillian Ortiz Self and Senator Rebecca Saldana, introduced their proposed legislation for the Immigrant Workers Protection Act that they're bringing forward in 2026. Now, something I want you to know if you are in Washington State, if the Democrats are committed to passing proposed legislation, it is as much as a sure thing. And when you got the attorney general behind it and they're holding a press conference before the session even begins, you can bet your bottom dollar this is going to become law this year. That said, if you are remaining in Washington State, it's important to speak up and make as much noise as possible. And I would say if you are not in Washington State, this still matters to you because when sanctuary states make policies like this, it hurts all of us around the country. Case in point, the immigrant driver who killed 3 people here in Florida just a few months ago, who was given a commercial driver's license in Washington and California. And then these drivers go around the country. They can't speak English. They may not be able to read English, and it puts all of us at risk. So in today's video, we're going to break down exactly what's going on here, exactly what they're proposing so that you know and you can be prepared as per usual as well. A lot of times we'll see a copy and paste sort of thing go on with this. So I would expect to see similar legislation in places like California, New York, and other sanctuary states. Let's start out with what does this bill actually do? When ICE sends an employer an I-9 audit notice, a standard 72-hour warning, the employer must notify every affected worker within 72 hours. This will be a law in Washington State. Secondly, employers are forbidden from voluntarily letting ICE into non-public areas without a judicial warrant. Third, employers are forbidden from voluntarily handing over employee files without a subpoena. Fourth, if they break any of these rules, the attorney general can sue them and workers get a private right of action. So in plain English, this means that Washington has just turned every business into a 72-hour early warning system for people who are in the country illegally. Now, I want to break down this video and show you some of the key clips that I think you need to know about.
Originally said that he'd focus his immigration enforcement on those who had committed violent crimes. Remember him repeatedly talking about focusing on the worst of the worst. But instead, this administration rounds up hardworking people trying to provide for their families. This is laid out in the facts. This is not up for debate. Almost half of those arrested by ICE in Washington State this year had no criminal record. 0.
So let's get this straight. The state's top law enforcement officer is upset that federal immigration officers are arresting people who broke federal immigration law, but they have no other criminal records, so it's okay. And by the way, we're only talking about half of the people. So, not quite half of the people didn't have a criminal record. That means more than half of the people did have a criminal record beyond breaking federal immigration law. This is the entire point of federal immigration enforcement, is it not? Next up, we have Representative Lillian Ortiz Self.
This bill guarantees transparency and dignity for workers. Workers deserve to know when their workplace is being targeted. This bill ensures clear, timely notice of I-9 audits. No one should be left in the dark about actions that could impact their family's stability. It protects private sensitive information. This bill makes it clear that employers cannot voluntarily hand over workers' records without a subpoena or a warrant.
So, if you own a business in Washington state and you want to cooperate with federal law enforcement, you will be punished by Washington state for doing so. Now, this one is especially great because you've got Stephen Mortiz, who is from the labor union, saying the quiet part out loud.
Our union contracts, for example, require that employers notify the union within 24 hours of a search and/or arrest warrant, an administrative warrant, or a subpoena from the Department of Homeland Security. If an employer has advanced knowledge that federal immigration will be doing an I-9 audit, workers should have that notice too, so they can seek their own legal advice, their own support with their community on how to respond to the situation.
So he just admitted right there that the union shops have been giving illegal immigrants a 24 to 72 hour head start for years. And now they want to legalize this loophole for every single business in Washington state. Now, there's also the money angle here. They're claiming that undocumented immigrants pay taxes in Washington state. That's their talking point. So yes, that's about $997 million a year. And it's almost entirely sales and property taxes that legal residents pay as well. But here's the key piece that they're leaving out. Mass workplace enforcement would cost the state billions of dollars and lost economic output and hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue. So this isn't really about charity. It's not really about protecting these poor immigrant families and keeping families together and protecting children. This is a cold, hard economic calculation. Democrats are protecting an illegal labor pool because certain industries are addicted to it. And this isn't just a Washington problem. This is happening throughout the country. So I just want to give you guys a quick recap of how we got here. Back in 2019, the legislature passed the Keep Washington Working Act, which is what made Washington state a sanctuary state in the first place. And one of the things the Democrats in Washington love to do is say that this was bipartisan. I believe there was one senator and then there were two people in the House that voted for the Keep Washington Working Act, and just one Republican has to cross the line for them to call it bipartisan. So that was in 2019. Then in 2025, we had two pretty major pieces of legislation that were passed this year. One of them, Senate Bill 5104, bans employers from even mentioning immigration status in wage disputes. Another one of them is House Bill 1875, which is paid sick leave for workers if they have deportation hearings. And now we've got the Immigrant Workers Protection Act queued up for 2026, and this is again sure to pass in Washington state. We have been watching the Democrats in Washington and many other blue states who have been really building this radical left firewall against the Trump administration since even before he took office. This is direct defiance to the mandate that the American people gave to President Trump. We wanted them to do something about this immigration system, this illegal immigration that has been out of control in our country for a very long time. And states like Washington have really embraced this, which has brought more illegals to a sanctuary state like Washington and California, New York. This is where these people go because they know that they will be welcomed, they will be protected by the Democrats, and they will be given a lot of social services like food stamps and housing supports and even medical for themselves and their families. Meanwhile, the tax-paying citizens of these states are the ones who are losing out because prices are skyrocketing. These places are unaffordable. You've got public safety issues, and taxes are getting out of control in most of these sanctuary states. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you are in Washington, you probably had a really good idea that this was coming. We put out a blog in October when the Attorney General released his labor report. So we knew that something like this was going to be coming. And now today they have done this press conference. And I have not seen the legislation actually hit the Washington legislative website yet at the time of this recording. But we will be watching for that. And we will be putting out information on our website, conservativeladyesofwa.com. And you can also get breaking alerts and calls to action throughout the legislative session, and even here as we are going through the pre-filing stage on our Substack, which is conservativeladyesofamerica.substack.com. Be sure to subscribe so that you do not miss an alert and so that you can make your voice heard. Even though we know that they're going to do what they want to anyway, it's really important that citizens speak up and make their positions known and really frustrate the process as much as possible. Try to slow these things down. And we have to fight this throughout the country. So if you don't live in a sanctuary state, if you are someone who lives in a red state or a purple state, you need to care about policies like this, and you need to do what you can to help oppose this. So there's nothing stopping you from sending an email to Washington state legislators or the Attorney General's office and letting them know that you do not want policies like this passed that put every American at risk. Please do share this video far and wide, especially if you are in Washington state or another sanctuary state, because like I said earlier, this is going to be a copy and paste policy that we're going to see happen in many states. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.